The silent symphony of space, hello there, and welcome to the Soothing Science. I'm so glad you found this quiet corner of the universe, a place where curiosity moves slowly, where stories drift like starlight, and where even silence has something to say. Tonight, let's begin our journey far above the clouds, beyond the blue sky, past the whispering air, into a realm where sound cannot travel, and yet, somehow, the universe is never truly silent. For most of history, we believed space was empty, a black void, endless and lifeless. But then came a discovery that changed everything. A faint, invisible glow spread evenly across the sky. The cosmic microwave background. It's the oldest light in the universe, a relic from when the cosmos was just a newborn, only 380,000 years old. That faint radiation is the aftersound of creation itself, the echo of the Big Bang still humming softly, 13.8 billion years later. And it doesn't stop there. Astronomers have turned cosmic data into sound, and what they've heard is extraordinary. When converted into audible tones, black holes sing in deep, resonant notes. Galaxies hum. The universe vibrates like an endless choir, each star contributing its voice to a vast, unseen harmony. Even Earth adds its own quiet. Rhythm, scientists call it the Schumann resonance, a steady electromagnetic heartbeat that pulses. About 8 times every second, it's the same slow rhythm as a calm human brain in deep meditation. It's as if the planet itself is breathing, and we are breathing with it. When you stand outside on a still night, and you feel that hush, that almost mystical calm. It's not emptiness, it's presence. You're surrounded by invisible waves of light and energy, rippling quietly from the birth of time. The silence of space is not a void, it's a language, one the universe has been speaking since the beginning. So perhaps that's why stargazing feels peaceful, because deep down, your body remembers that rhythm. Every atom inside you once sang in that same cosmic song. Lesson: silence isn't empty. It's full of everything that ever was, and everything still becoming. Sometimes, to hear the universe, we simply need to be still enough to listen. Next time, we'll leave the stars behind and return home to the living world beneath our feet, a planet that breathes just like us. The breathing planet. After drifting among the stars, let's return home to a planet that's not silent, but softly alive. Have you ever thought of Earth as a living, breathing being? Not just a rock in space, but a creature, pulsing, inhaling, exhaling, every single day. When you breathe in, oxygen fills your lungs, molecules created not only by trees, but by invisible ocean life called phytoplankton. Tiny, drifting plants floating near the sunlit surface of the sea. They're so small you can't see them, but together they make more than half of the oxygen you've ever breathed. Every inhale is a gift from the ocean. At the same time, forests join the rhythm, inhaling carbon dioxide, exhaling life. Through the delicate machinery of photosynthesis, leaves turn sunlight into sugar, air into existence. Each tree, each patch of moss, each blade of grass adds its own note to Earth's long, slow symphony of breath. Even rocks breathe, in their own way. Moisture seeps into stone, air enters the soil, carbon moves between ocean and mountain. The planet exhales through volcanoes, inhales through weathering, pulsing over millennia. To the Earth, a single breath lasts 1,000 years. From space, satellites can see the planet breathe. In the spring, the northern hemisphere blooms. Forests awaken, carbon levels drop. In autumn, leaves fall and Earth exhales once more. It's a cycle, vast and quiet, but steady as a heartbeat. And we, fragile and temporary, are part of that same rhythm. Each breath you take was once inside a leaf, a whale, a cloud, or a mountain. The boundary between you and the world is thinner than you think. When you exhale, you're not losing something, you're giving it back. Lesson: you are not separate from nature. You are nature, remembering itself. Every breath you take connects you to oceans, forests, and skies. And as we listen to the Earth's gentle rhythm, another question arises. What about the world beneath the waves, where darkness glows and silence comes alive with light? Oceans, the other sky. We've drifted from the breathing Earth, and now we sink beneath its surface, into a place as vast as space itself, the ocean. Beneath the waves lies another sky, not blue from reflection, but from depth, a darkness alive with light. Down there the sunlight fades, but life only begins. Jellyfish drift like lanterns, glowing gently in the black. Schools of fish move as if they share a single mind, turning as one, shimmering like constellations made of flesh and fin. At the deepest points, the Mariana Trench, nearly 7 miles down, the pressure is so immense that a human body would collapse instantly. And yet, life thrives. Strange, translucent creatures feed on heat, sulfur, and minerals spewing from cracks in the Earth's crust. Hydrothermal vents, the birthplace of life itself. Scientists believe that billions of years ago, in these fiery depths, tiny cells found energy without sunlight, turning minerals into metabolism and chemistry into life. Every living thing, from whales to you, carries the faint memory of that first spark born in the dark. And then there are the whales, ancient weightless giants that sing across thousands of miles. Their voices travel through water faster than sound to air, a language of echoes and distance as if the ocean itself were dreaming. When you listen closely, the ocean hums with electricity, heartbeat, emotion, a world of color without light, a wilderness without borders. We often think of the sea as separate, but the truth is, it shapes our every breath, every cloud, every meal, the rain in your backyard, the salt in your skin, the rhythm of your pulse, all begin in the ocean. And yet, we know so little about it. We've mapped Mars more completely than the seafloor. The ocean remains Earth's final frontier, a reminder that mystery still exists, waiting quietly just below the waves. Lesson: the ocean is not emptiness. It's memory, depth, and connection. Every drop of water has traveled farther than you ever will. And as we rise from the deep, another thought drifts quietly to the surface. Life's first architects, small and ancient, the builders who shaped the planet before us all. The first architects of Earth. I'm so glad you've come along, through the waves, through the silence, to the very beginning of time. Because before forests, before animals, before even the oxygen you're breathing right now, there were builders. Tiny, unseen architects who shaped the face of the world. They weren't plants or animals. They were bacteria, ancient, patient, and endlessly creative. And what they built still stands today. In shallow seas over 3.5 billion years ago, colonies of cyanobacteria began to trap and bind sediment layer by layer until they formed great stone domes called stromatolites, living rocks that breathed. These little architects were doing something revolutionary, turning sunlight and water into energy and releasing oxygen as waste. To them, it was just survival. To the planet, it was transformation. At first, oxygen was toxic to most early life. It rusted the oceans red, changing their chemistry forever. But over millions of years, that oxygen filled the skies, turning the air clear and blue, making way for complex life. And for us, you can still see living stromatolites today in places like Shark Bay, Australia. Quiet mounds in shallow turquoise water, softly bubbling with ancient breath. When the tide laps against them, you're hearing the whisper of Earth's first engineers, still at work after billions of years. It's humbling, isn't it? That everything, trees, whales, even you, was built on the work of tiny microbes that never stopped trying. They never saw the sky they helped make. They never knew the future they would give rise to, and yet they built anyway. Lesson: great creations don't always come from strength or speed. Sometimes they come from patience, the quiet kind that shapes worlds. And as those ancient builders shaped the air we breathe, something else began to rise from the sea, creatures that would one day look up and wonder. The language of dolphins. We've met the builders of the Earth's breath. Now let's meet the ones who speak beneath the waves. The ocean, vast and blue, is filled with voices. Clicks, whistles, and echoes bouncing through the deep. But among them, one voice stands out. The dolphins. They are graceful, social, and endlessly curious. But what's truly astonishing is their language. Every dolphin creates a signature whistle, a sound that functions like a name. It's a pattern they invent as calves, and it stays with them their entire lives. When dolphins meet, they call to one another, not randomly, but personally. One whistle for one individual. A mother calling her calf. A friend greeting another across the waves. And when researchers played a dolphin's own whistle back to it, the dolphin turned immediately, as if to say, "Yes, I'm here." They don't just mimic sound. They remember, they recognize. They can recall the voices of others after 20 years apart. Imagine that, a friendship carried through decades and oceans. Dolphins live in constantly shifting pods, alliances that form and dissolve like tides. To navigate that fluid social world, they need memory, empathy, and trust. They play, they teach, they even comfort the injured. When one dolphin is sick, others will stay beside it, lifting it to the surface to breathe. Perhaps, in their own shimmering way, they understand what it means to care. Science calls it social intelligence, but maybe it's something simpler. A reminder that communication is not just sound, it's connection. You and I, we use words. They use waves. But the meaning, to be seen, to be heard, to belong, is the same. Lesson: true intelligence is not in how loudly we speak, but in how deeply we listen. And as we listen to their underwater conversations fade into silence, another kind of language begins to rise, one not spoken, but felt, a rhythm that flows through roots, air, and stone. The hidden conversations of plants, the hush of a forest where sunlight falls in golden dust. It's easy to think nothing moves, nothing speaks. But the truth is, the forest is talking. It has always been. When a caterpillar bites into a leaf, the wounded plant releases invisible chemicals into the air, scented warnings that drift on the wind. Nearby plants smell the alarm and respond, producing bitter compounds or toxins to defend themselves. It's a chemical language, ancient and precise, even underground. Roots whisper through networks of fungi, a vast web scientists now call the Wood Wide Web. Through these mycorrhizal threads, trees share water, nutrients, and even messages. A mother tree can feed her saplings in times of drought, or send distress signals when pests invade. When one falls, the others know. In experiments, when one tree was shaded, neighboring trees reduced their own growth so that the weaker one could survive. It's not competition, it's collaboration. A quiet, living community beneath the soil that perhaps most beautifully plants remember. They track sunlight, sense gravity, and even keep time. The mimosa pudica, the shy plant that folds its leaves when touched, can learn that certain vibrations are harmless and stops reacting after a while. A simple form of memory, stored not in a brain, but in the rhythm of its cells. If you stand very still in a meadow, you can almost feel it, a slow conversation humming around you, not in words or sounds, but in breath, scent, and growth. Maybe silence, after all, isn't empty. It's just filled with frequencies we haven't learned to hear yet. Lesson: life doesn't only speak in sound, it speaks in patience, in light, in the quiet generosity of roots. And while the forest speaks in whispers and wind, another kind of transformation unfolds. A story of creatures who shape the very flow of rivers and life itself. When wolves changed rivers in 1995, something extraordinary happened in Yellowstone National Park. After 70 years without them, the wolves came home. They arrived quietly, gray shadows slipping between trees, and yet their return began one of the most profound transformations nature has ever recorded. Before the wolves, deer and elk had grown fearless. With no predators, they grazed endlessly along riverbanks, stripping young willows and aspens bare. The land grew tired. The rivers widened, eroded, and lost their shape. The songbirds left. The beavers disappeared. The balance broken. Then came the wolves. They didn't arrive as destroyers, but as designers. They changed the behavior of the deer, pushing them away from open valleys into higher, safer ground. In those abandoned places, the trees grew tall again. Willows, cottonwoods, and aspens rose along the streams, their roots binding the soil, calming the flow of water. Birds returned. Beavers returned. Their dams created pools, and those pools invited fish, insects, otters, and frogs. Even bears benefited, feasting on berries that grew where the wolves had reshaped the land. The wolves never touched the rivers directly. They simply restored balance, and balance did the rest. This is what ecologists call a trophic cascade, a chain of cause and effect that begins with one species and ripples through an entire ecosystem. But to me, it feels more like a story about harmony, about how healing doesn't always begin with what's missing, but with what returns. Nature has a way of remembering equilibrium. When you let it breathe, it finds its rhythm again. The wolves didn't just change the deer. They changed the trees, the birds, the rivers, and even the way the wind sounded through the valley. Lesson: sometimes healing doesn't mean doing more. It means restoring what was meant to be there all along. And as the wolf's song fades into the mountain air, the world reminds us that even the smallest creatures, bees, for instance, can hold the keys to intelligence, memory, and wonder. The secret genius of bees high above a meadow in bloom, where the air hums with gold and sunlight. A civilization is at work. Tiny wings shimmer. Thousands of lives move in perfect rhythm. A living mind made of many. A single bee may seem simple, but together, a hive becomes something remarkable, a collective intelligence. Each bee follows simple rules. Gather, signal, respond. Yet somehow, their cooperation creates order far beyond any individual thought. When a scout bee finds a new field of flowers, she returns to the hive and performs a waggle dance, a tiny, vibrating figure eight that encodes the direction and distance to the food source. The others watch, decode, and take flight. It's a language of motion, sunlight, and rhythm, mathematical precision hidden in a trembling dance. In laboratory studies, bees have shown they can count up to 4, understand the concept of 0, and even learn from watching each other. One experiment taught bees to roll tiny balls into a bowl for a sugar reward. The watching bees learned the same trick and even improved upon it, finding faster ways to succeed. That's not instinct, that's innovation. Inside the hive, knowledge flows not through words, but through motion, scent, and vibration. Every wing beat carries a message. Every bee's path is both personal and collective, a delicate choreography of purpose. When the hive chooses a new home, scouts debate through dances, each promoting their favorite site. Gradually, through thousands of tiny movements, a consensus emerges. A vote without a voice. No ruler, no argument, just harmony. Maybe that's what genius really looks like. Not brilliance in isolation, but intelligence woven together through connection and cooperation. Because in their world, there is no I, there is only us. Lesson: wisdom isn't always about knowing more. Sometimes it's about moving together, each small act in service of something greater. And as we leave the buzzing world of the hive behind, the night begins to fall, and another kind of light awakens, not from the sky above, but from the darkness within. The glow within, bioluminescence and the light of life, somewhere in the deepest dark of the ocean, where sunlight has never touched, a light begins to bloom. It's not fire. It's not reflected from the stars. It's born from within. Tiny plankton drift like living constellations, flashing blue and green in the movement of waves. A fish swims by. Its jaw glows like a lantern. A jellyfish pulses gently, its body a shimmering veil of soft light. And an anglerfish waits, a single glowing lure hanging before its mouth, a ghostly beacon in the abyss. This is bioluminescence, life's ability to make light from chemistry. It's one of the oldest languages on Earth, used by creatures to hunt, to hide, to call, to love. When dinoflagellates, microscopic ocean drifters, get disturbed, they light up in a burst of blue fire. Swimmers in tropical seas sometimes find themselves glowing as they move, their skin traced with flickering stars. It feels like magic, but it's simply biology at its most beautiful. Fireflies use their light to court, a pulse, a rhythm, a conversation of sparks between the trees. Some fungi glow on forest floors, guiding nocturnal insects to spread their spores. Even certain sharks and squid use light to disguise themselves, matching the glow of the water above so predators can't see them from below. And then there's us. Humans glow too, faintly, softly, invisibly. Every cell in your body releases a few photons of light as it turns food into energy. The glow is too dim for your eyes to see, but it's there. A quiet shimmer that ebbs and flows through the day, strongest in the late afternoon, gentlest at night. You shine even when you sleep. Even when you think you're dark inside, your body hums with a soft light, the afterglow of all the stars that made you. Because the carbon in your skin, the iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, all were forged in ancient stellar furnaces. You are not just made of starlight, you are starlight. Lesson: the universe does not stop shining when no one is watching, and neither should you. And as the light of life fades back into stillness, we turn our eyes towards something even greater. Not a single spark, but the grand invisible hand that guides it all. The magnetic breath of the earth itself. The invisible compass. How life follows. Earth's magnetic field all around us, though we cannot see it. The earth is whispering. Its voice is not made of sound, but of force. A vast magnetic field stretching from pole to pole, a soft, unseen current flowing through sky, stone, and sea, and life listens. Sea turtles cross entire oceans, guided not by stars or landmarks, but by the magnetic signature of the planet itself. They remember the beach where they were born, not through sight, but through an invisible map imprinted in their minds. Migrating birds follow those same lines of energy, arcing through the sky in graceful waves. They feel north and south the way we feel warmth or wind. In their eyes are tiny crystals of magnetite, sensitive to the Earth's field, turning instinct into navigation. Even salmon, born in mountain streams, drawn to the open ocean, find their way back years later, guided home by that same silent compass. And the Arctic fox, the monarch butterfly, even bacteria in the soil, each aligns itself with the Earth's pull, as if all of life shares a single rhythm, a single direction. Scientists still don't fully understand it. Is it quantum, chemical, something else entirely? But perhaps that mystery is the point, because in a world of noise and distraction, it's comforting to know that somewhere, deep inside every living thing, there is still a compass that points home. You have one too. Not magnetic, but something like it. An inner sense that tugs you toward what feels right, toward the people, places, and moments where your soul feels steady. Maybe it's the same pull, the same field that guides birds across continents, the same current that spins the stars. Maybe we are all, in some way, still following the Earth. Listen, there's a direction inside you that no map can show. It's the quiet alignment between who you are and where you're meant to be. And now, as the world grows still, the oceans rest, the forests breathe, the stars drift, we come to the end of our journey. But not an end, really. Just a pause until curiosity calls again. Good night, traveler. The world is quiet now. The rivers have settled into their beds. The forests murmur softly in their sleep. And the stars, they're still watching, just as they always have. You've traveled far tonight. From the frozen fur of the Arctic fox to the glowing pulse of the jellyfish. From the whispering roots of trees to the invisible compass that turns the world. You've seen patience take shape, intelligence unfold in light, even in the deepest dark. Every fact we've shared was a fragment of something larger, a single breath in the great living body of Earth. And that body includes you, because you are not separate from nature. You are nature in motion, in memory, in thought. The carbon in your lungs once drifted through a leaf. The iron in your blood once burned in a star. You carry the same quiet persistence that moves through every creature we've met tonight. So if the world ever feels too heavy, if the noise of living grows too loud, remember this. Somewhere, in the dark, a coral is releasing its eggs into the sea. A bird is flying in its sleep. A flower is counting the footsteps of a bee. And the earth is still turning, softly, patiently carrying you with it. Let that thought hold you, like waves rocking a boat, like the slow rhythm of a heartbeat that's older than time. Breathe in and let go. You are part of something vast, something ancient, something endlessly kind. And now, traveler, rest. Let your mind drift beyond the edges of thought, where curiosity sleeps and wonder waits. The story isn't over. It's just waiting for you to wake again. If you enjoyed drifting with us tonight, consider subscribing. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind. Good night, traveler. Sleep gently beneath the stars.